So I had a couple of conversations over the past week with some good friends of mine. And one of the conversations, my friend's really just angry about his situation, problems with his ex, where he lives. He's not happy with the conditions as it relates to where he lives. And he just doesn't know what to do with himself. Those are his words. And he's just really angry. And I'm not faulting him for that. If there are things that make us angry, we have a right to feel that way. And I'm telling him, if there's no obligation to your ex, then just let it go. If there's no opportunity to repair the relationship, then let it go. There's nothing that she can offer you, so just let it go. And same thing for his living situation. I said, well, if you're that fed up with your living situation, just bounce. There are other places for you to go. There are other places that will make you feel tranquility. And he told me his money is right. Okay, that's great. Okay, well, at least you're financially stable. But you're unhappy. And, you follow your routine every day. You go to work. You do some work around the house, but you're not happy. And he tells me how he's not eating, he's not sleeping, his blood pressure is really high, dangerously high, and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. And of course, as a friend, I'm concerned about him, but at the same time, I'm like, well, we're grown men. We have to get control of ourselves. And I told him that. You have to get control of yourself. Because you're on a collision course. And it's not something to play with. It ain't good. And it's not something to tempt. Don't tempt fate. Because it's easy to just change course. And I said, well, if we can't make these big changes, and of course, right, we can't just do it that easily, just up and go, just move on from an ex-partner. But what about a hobby? Something that will give you some relief from your current situation. You can tune out the world and focus on that thing. Indoor, outdoor, whatever. And he's just going on and on with his rant. And not just him, but with people so often, we're just ranting so much. And I just sort of, kind of disconnect. I can't listen to this. I'm trying to help you, my friend. I've been through my own things too. And the key thing is that we've got to bring balance to situations. Yes, it's clear that the situation is bad. What can we do to bring balance? If you can't move, go take a vacation. You don't have to engage with your partner unless it's something really sensitive or critical. But for every point I offer, there's always a counterpoint as to why things can't be. And that's really striking because first, I can't tell you how to live your life. I can only sort of look at things through a different lens and give you some suggestions, some things I think are not out of reach that we can be prepared to at least think about, if not act on. But nobody seems to want that. Everybody seems to be content in the rant, content in the storm. You just sort of in that cycle. What's that doing for you? Where's it taking you? And that brings me to a conversation with my other friend last week. We talked about hope, and he said, Mark, you ever have someone call you whenever they're trying to plan something that you know about, maybe something you've done? I said, yeah. I said, I get people who call me like that. And I said, of course, I want to support my friends in whatever their endeavors might be, their aspirations, their dreams. But often what I hear, you hear the uncertainty, you hear the doubt, you hear the fear. And they're trying to convince me of something that they themselves are not convinced of. And what am I supposed to say at this point? I'm supposed to, sort of endorse these things that you're not even clear on. And it all comes down to hope. Well, I hope in 2 years I can do this. I hope if situation A happens, then situation B will occur. And that's not how it works. How important is the dream or the aspiration that you're willing to do everything necessary? Because if it's that important, hope is not the factor. It's all on you. It's your drive, your determination, your persistence, your creativity. Sometimes it takes sundown to sun up. Sometimes it takes the constant grind. There ain't no hope in that. The challenge is that I can't create the blueprint. What got me here, the blueprint that got me here to Japan, to this very place, is very different than another person's blueprint, whether they are drafting it or not, or whether it's just something to unfold over time. It's a very different blueprint. But somehow I'm supposed to be an approval figure over the plan, a plan that's not even thought out. And we all have big dreams, we all have big aspirations, but at this phase in life, we're too old for that. We know better. We have seen enough, we have experienced enough, we have done enough to know that hope is not the way. And also, hope is misleading. Hope is dangerous, because what hope will do is cause you to waste time. We don't have all the time in the world. We don't. Time moves fast, or we have all, or it'll happen. It's just a matter of time, and that's not what it is. You won't meet your target, and then what's your excuse at that point? Hope isn't the excuse. It's what you didn't do, what you didn't act on, what you know you should have done, whether you want to admit it or not. And so I told my friend, I said, yeah, those conversations only go so far. And it's not that I'm disinterested. It's not that, again, that I don't want to see my friend succeed. But as soon as this conversation ends, hope gets put in the storage closet. And I don't bring it back up. I don't go looking in the closet for it because I already know. It's just not that serious. It's just not that important. It's just not that urgent. It's just not that instrumental. But that's your choice. You have to live with it. That's all.